Bungie somehow made the worst exotic in PvE one of the best now. That's the Eternal Warrior buff that we're talking about today. Its new description reads, Resolute, arc final blows grant an escalating damage bonus with arc weapons. So all you have to do is have on an arc weapon and it will self-buff. Basically, it can get up to 4 stacks and do 25% more damage. Keep in mind, this does not stack with the boot mods for Arc Surge, so make sure to not use those in tandem, otherwise they'll be redundant and you won't get the buffs. Next part reads, gain an overshield when activating Fist of Havoc, and the highest gain tier damage bonus to arc weapons when your Fist of Havoc super ends, which just means when you come out of your super you have the ×4 damage. And then obviously you get the overshield, which was the previous usage for this. This is actually pretty cool, and they've actually buffed Fist of Havoc as well inside PvE, so it does significantly more damage. It can clear a room of ads in challenging content, which is what we're going to do in this video. And on top of that, it blinds enemies when you use the Fist of Havoc charges and stuff. So the supers got buffed big time. This exotic got buffed big time. It's like a double, triple buff from Bungie, and it's actually pretty solid now. So going through the exact build, starting from the beginning, we're rocking Fists of Havoc. I know this is strange to use in PvE, but actually pretty strong now. And then Towering Barricade. You could go with some other stuff though. You definitely could go Rally Barricade or Thruster. You want to just have a shorter cooldown time. I just personally like Towering Barricade. It's nice to have some cover from time to time. We're going Catapult Lift, going Thunderclap. Could also go Seismic Strike. That might, especially if you need to blind unstopped champions. You can use this on them. However, sometimes they end up stomping you anyways, so it's not always the most consistent thing. I'll be using Thunderclap because it's a little bit stronger. Pulse Grenade's definitely the grenade to choose. We're going to be using Touch of Thunder, so that enhances our Pulse Grenade, creates Ionic Traces periodically as it damages targets, and increases in damage over time. It's going to buff our grenades pretty strongly. Then we're using Knockout, critically winning a target or breaking their shields, infuses your melee attacks with Arc Energy, increases your melee range and damage for a short time. Being target's melee attack starts health regeneration and makes you amplified, so that's what we'll be tying into our Thunderclap, so we can get some kills on enemies with that, get health regen, whatever it may be. It's actually pretty strong. Spark Resistance for the Fragment. This is just essential for survivability. Spark of Shock makes your grenades just so much stronger and will actually stun. The Overloads, which is what we're going to be using because there's overloads in this Lost Sector. Then we got Spark of Magnitude, which is just going to make our grenades last longer. That'll be essential to this. And the last one is Spark of Discharge. Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace. Because we're rocking double arc weapons because of Eternal Warrior and because of Arc Surge on the activity, we're going to have Path of Least Resistance and Terminus Horizon on. We're going to get massive buffs to these weapons. We're going to be creating crazy Ionic Traces. It's going to be an epic time, and double special means that more power ammo will drop and vice versa, more special ammo drop when we're rocking the machine gun. Going through all the mods on the helmet, we've got Harmonic Siphon because we've got an arc subclass and we're using arc weapons, so we'll be making plenty of orbs with that. We're going to use Heavy Ammo Finder so we can get as much power as possible so we can spray things down with that machine gun. And then we're using Ashest Assets so we can get super energy from the grenades. We'll be spamming a good amount of grenades and they get a good amount of kills. Next up, we got Fastball, so the grenades land where we throw them. Firepower, so that way the grenades also make orbs, and then Bolstering Detonation is going to be huge for this one. Grants clasp energy, cause damage with your grenade. Now we're moving on down to the chest piece. We're just going to have Rainbow Resist. We got Solar, Void, and Arc. And moving on down to the boots now. We're going to go with Recuperation is huge and definitely always recommend using that. And then we have Kinetic Surge. Big update on the boot mod. You definitely want Arc holster on when using this. And side note, Underlord is super sick with this because you're constantly doing 25% more damage on top of the surge from the activity and everything else. So the build I was having a lot of fun with when doing lower end activities like salvage and everything else was Thunderlord, Path of Least Resistance, and then a succession. So that way I get tons of power ammo with the double special. And we're just going with Arc Scavenger. Moving on down to the class item, we're going to be using Reaper, of course, so we can make even more orbs. Explosive Finisher is really nice. So that way if we do get ×3 and we don't have our grenade, we can just hit a finisher and get that. Consume all those stacks, get our grenade back really fast, and then Bomber will help us get our grenades back. That way we can spam as much grenades as possible. However, you won't be spamming them as crazy as back in the pre-nerfed Hoyle days. But it's not too bad overall, and mostly we're focusing on the amount of weapon damage that we get. Our arc weapons are absolutely beefy as all hell.
I'm just so beefy.
This helmet is super sick, and this build is insanely powerful in Season 21 of Destiny 2. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. See you in the next one. Later.